Yay, it's streaming now. Let me double check. Du-du-du-du-du-du-dum. Du-du-du-du-du-du-dum. There we go. Cool. There we go. Du-du-du-du-du-du-dum. Du-du-du-du-du-du-dum. No, it's gonna be right here. Hey guys, so if you're seeing this in the future, I am setting up the screen to make sure you can see it. So I apologize if this is not making any sense right now to you. This is good. So right now I'm still setting this up. Hey Notorious, what's up? I'm setting up today's here we go. That should be another color. What's going on? Hello. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about posture, guys. On how I'm gonna tell you guys how important it is. And I'm fixing the lighting here because it's freaking awful. This is like the worst camera angle. My light is all yellow. So it's gonna be it's so I'm just preparing for it. So sorry. Honestly, dude, I felt incredibly exhausted. I was like, there's no way I can work out today. My day was good. I went to Walmart and I was really tired. Like I was tired as hell. Like I took a nap right now, but I've just been tired the whole day. I think it's from all the working out and the live streaming. Like it does get you tired. But yeah, how are you? And let's see. By the way, so today we are gonna talk posture, FYI. We're not gonna talk a lot. We're not gonna talk about other subjects for the most part. It's gonna be primarily posture. It might be a little geeky, FYI, but yeah, just so you know. Yeah, me too. I think it's the weather, don't you think? Number public, here we go. So page 309. What page is this? It's 309. 319. Here we go. We're getting there. 309. So I'm good. Hey Stevie, how are you? I hope you're doing good. He says, I'm back, got low blood sugar due to not eating enough, almost passed out a few times. Oh my God, I am so sorry, dude. No, make sure to eat. Make sure to eat, dude. Like, it's important for you to eat. The weather changes definitely affect me health-wise. No, like, for real, just make sure to eat. And because, look, it's honestly, it's better to be on the heavier side than to be too skinny. Because when you get too skinny, your body starts eating itself. You want it to eat itself, but not too much. You know what I mean? So this, how many guys are here? How many of you guys are here? Let me see. Oh, and I need to bring out the chat here too. Let's see. So I need to do a couple of things here on the screen. CPT. So I wanted to live stream today. However, I wasn't sure exactly what to do about. I've had this video, this idea of talking about posture in a video, and that's what I'm gonna do today. But I feel like I wanted to do this live streaming, primarily because I feel like it would be a live stream since I'm not working out today. I thought that this would be a good idea. So that's exactly what we're gonna be doing. And let's see, chat. Here's a chat, a show. So I'm just fixing the screens right now. So I started the stream a little bit early. So yes, guys. Paste. There we go. So we have the chat here. And this is good then. This is good. This is good. And the chat is on the screen. Boom. Okay, here we go. All right, guys. So for the longest time, ah, my bad, my bad. Here we go. So for the longest time, guys, look, you guys that have been here in the channel understand that I have gone through a lot, and my sense of self-esteem has gone up. Let me fix that lamp. Hang on. Oh, like the light makes such a huge difference on how my face looks, dude. Okay, here we go. This is better. All right. So one of the things, guys, that we have to understand is that the posture, there is some type of psychological tie-in between how you feel about yourself and your posture. And look, eh, me personally, I have always, since I knew what posture said to the world about me, I have striven. I'm not sure if that's a word, but I have striven or strived. Let's find out if striven is a word. Hang on. Is it striven or strived? Striven is a traditional. Okay, striven. Okay, so striven is a way of saying it. So since I understood how posture, how do you say, how posture creates a perception of who you are in the minds of other people, I began to truly and effortfully make sure that my posture was always good. And so, so notorious, I thought so too. But look, striven is striven is also a way of saying it also counts. It's proper. However, it's more traditional. Hang on, I'm gonna get some water. And the reason, guys, that we want to talk about posture is because all of a sudden I want to pee and I need to drink water, guys. I'm sorry. Hang on. It won't happen again. I just need to pee. And I don't want to, I'm not gonna be keep interrupting the live stream. I'm so sorry. Hang on. Okay, here we go. I apologize. So, okay. So, one thing about us humans that we are told is to never judge a book by its cover. However, us as human beings judging things by how they look is ingrained into our genes because that is gonna help us survive. Judging is a necessary component of being a human being because by judging we can pull ourselves away from things that might affect us negatively. For example, if someone has a bunch of blemishes that look weird, like herpes or something, you are gonna wanna stay away because you know that might bring you disease. When whenever you smell someone and the person smells bad, you are gonna make the assumption that that person is dirty or hasn't cleaned themselves. So you are gonna maintain your distance. When someone shows some type of infection on their skin, you are gonna stay away from that person. This same concept exists in how we carry ourselves, your language, your vocabulary, the color of your skin, the shape of your eyes, how you move your body. If you move funky, for example, if someone moves funny, you're going to be able to notice that maybe that person has a leg bigger than the other. So judging is literally part of being a human being, and it's a necessary part for that. It's we are optimized for our survival, which is exactly it why whenever you see someone with their chest up high who walks powerfully, even though that doesn't really make sense to say it, but there's going to be people, and I'm sure you have met some of them, where you look at them and you think to yourself, that person looks like they have a lot of money. Or someone, when a person is ghetto, they just look ghetto regardless of what they're wearing. They behave like ghetto people, they walk like ghetto people, their manners are ghetto, and you can, instead of ghetto, you can replace that with any other word. Like you can tell a lot of a person by how they carry themselves. On top of that, the posture of someone says a lot. You can tell how someone feels about themselves. You can tell if they are hiding something. You can tell a lot of details of a person only by judging. And yes, the system of judging is not perfect. However, it is good enough for us to depend on it, which is exactly why posture is so important. As sad as this might sound, people treat you how they see you. If you look like a weak person who isn't sure of themselves, people are going to try to push you around. If you appear like someone who shouldn't be messed with, people are not gonna be messing with you. And yes, that might you might be able to put off an appearance of being super powerful because of how you carry yourself. However, that in itself, it has the power of keeping predatory people away from you. You know what I mean? Or it can attract a certain type of people. Like you can be intimidating to some, and you can be, um, I guess, respected by others. So it will create your how you carry yourself will have a different impact depending on the person. But the truth is that imposing an image is largely done by posture. If you want to impose an image of yourself that like you are a pushover, then you can literally just walk like this, like this, you know. And then that's gonna pretty much make you appear like lazy, careless, um, and depending on everything else, like you could be overweight or underweight, but a posture like this says a lot about you. Like this, people that have the rounded shoulders and they have the neck forward, you typically can tell that they are a lot on their computer. They appear lazy and careless on how they project themselves to the world. Also, it can also add to an image of how do you say, not of carelessness, not of laziness, but of lack of discipline. It's like whenever you are looking at military. Like, let's look at some videos about military people walking. Look, one of the things that is said in the military is that that people in the military are taught to have a certain posture, to look a certain way, to project a certain image. Why? Because if you're military and you are representing the United States Army, you have to, how do you say, impose an image of power, particularly because the United States of America is considered to have the most powerful armed forces in the entire world. I was going to say the universe, in the world. So each and every single soldier should represent it and should impose that image. Imagine if there were like military people and they had like awful postures. You know what I mean? Like let's look at some videos. And let's see. Um, like let's just look at them. I don't know what this video is gonna entail, but let's look at it. Really another commercial, dude.
In basic training, you're going to do a lot of marching and facing movements.
So look, I want a. So look, listen to what he says.
Arched and
Hey,
shoulders
Lunar.
square and even. Arms hang straight down alongside the body without stiffness. And
Listen.
the wrists are straight with the forearms. Place thumbs, which are resting along the first joint of the forefinger, along the seams of the trousers. Hands are cupped, but not clenched as a fist, with palms facing the leg. The weight of the body rests equally on the heels and balls of both feet, and silence and immobility are required.
So look at their neck. Notice that the neck is not. It's not like that. It's upright. It's right above the shoulder. You know what I mean? Notice that. So let's keep going.
Let's move on to two common facing movements, left
There we go.
face and right face.
But notice that these videos are about the military. They are teaching posture in the military. Like, you know what I mean? This is how important posture is. Posture is important in the military because it does something, and it's psychological. Hey Phoenix, I hope you're doing good.
Most drill commands have two parts, the preparatory command and the command of execution. The preparatory command states the movement to be carried out and mentally prepares the recruit for its execution. On the command left face, the preparatory command is left.
But look at this. So did you see that the gentleman in the video is upright? Like, look, let's analyze his posture. Look. So the ear, if you would happen to draw a line here, the ear is actually, this is a little, so the neck should be a little bit further back. Because look, let me show you. Like his posture is not perfect, but it's good. And that's what we're going to talk about here today. Where is it? Hang on. So it is. Come on, where are you? Give me 1 second. Sorry, it's the computer is thinking apparently. Thank you. Okay. So now I want to show you. it's another postural assessment, 94. Movement assessment. I think it's, let's just do the no, not postural assessment. Movement assessment, range of motion assessment. No. Shoulder, wrist impairment, cervical spine. Correct strategy for cervical spine, knee, ankle, and shoulder. Yeah, so let's do 15 and 16. Okay. Okay, here we go. Almost. Okay, so now I want the resting. Where's the resting? Okay, so we're gonna cover a little bit of the over the impairments, and then we're gonna check the shoulders in a second. So here, notice how pretty much there's a line from the ear, and it goes right in front of the fibula of this bone right here. So there's the ear, and then it goes right above the shoulder. And notice that a cervical spine impairment is from here. Impairment is when the neck is protruded forward. So notice that this is not stretched, like this part right here. It's not stretched. It's not like this. It's like that. So notice the subtle differences. So Lunar, we're not going to work out today, Lunar. So right now we are covering other parts that are just as important as exercise, but we're going to talk about the psychological and physiological aspects of posture. Um, but no, it's not going to be a work. We're not working out. We're covering pretty much how to project yourself better to the world. But let's see. So if if you would happen to just see someone like hanging out just like that with their neck tilted to one side, like doesn't that look weird? Like doesn't it just look off-putting? You know what I mean? Like imagine if I were to talk like this. Like this guy. Like wouldn't that be weird? So one thing that I'm not gonna tell you how to correct it, but this is something that is done with practice. You have to practice in such a way that your neck stays upright, like that it's not, how do you say, that it's not migrated forward. So whenever you are on your phone a lot and you're holding it like this, when you're holding it like this, or when you're looking down, you are effectively strengthening some muscles, the muscles that push your neck forward, and you are stretching the other muscles that keep your head in place. Hi Elsa, how are you? So so the reason that they're teaching how to keep your neck in the right position in the military is because it impacts how the military is perceived. You perceive discipline, you perceive power, you perceive self-control. An ugly posture literally projects lack of self-control. So you want to make sure to actively make
To be
sure
carried
that
out. In left face, the command of execution is face.
make
The
sure that
facing
you
movement
think
left face
about the
is always
about your
given from the
posture
position
and
of
that you
attention and directs the recruit towards
actively
the
work
left
on it.
90 degrees.
Because your posture is what
The facing
you
movement
project
right face
to the
is
world.
always given from the
So
position
you
of
have to
attention
make sure
and
that
directs the
you
recruit
have
to the right
that you project
90
yourself
degrees.
the right way,
A more complicated
especially when you are surrounded by people that you want these
But
people to
common
have
facing movement is the
a
movement
good
about face. The
image.
command is
And
about
look,
face,
notice
where
that
about is a
as
preparatory
we can
command
see this
and face
guy,
is a command of
another
execution.
thing about
On the
fitness,
command of execution,
this is a tangent,
face, move the toe
is
of the
that
right
this
foot
guy,
to a point touching the marching surface
because he's
about
fit
half the length of
and
the
he has
foot
the
to
right
the rear
posture,
and
he
slightly to the
projects
left
power and
of
he
the left
projects
heel.
discipline.
Rest most of the weight on the
You know what
body
I
of the
mean?
heel of the
But
left foot and
that
allow the right knee to
imposition
bend
of
naturally.
power and of discipline
Next, turn
is
to the right
carried by
180
how he
degrees
is
and the left heel on
imposing
ball of the right foot,
his
resuming the
image
position of
onto
attention.
us.
The arm should remain at your sides as in the position of attention throughout this movement.
So let's see. Is saying, my brother is in the military and they had to check his posture before he got in. If he had a bad posture, he would have to do posture exercise. Exactly. Yeah. So, and look, the thing is, it's not aside from. Thank you for your input, by the way. So here, our friend. Hang on, let me get the one with the chat. Here we go. Our friend Lunar is saying that his brother is in the military and they had to check his posture before he got it in. And if he had a bad posture, he would have to do a posture exercise. And it makes sense. And the thing is that if you have a bad posture, it will cause you problems later. It really will. It will cause you lower back problems, and it will cause you problems of the neck and of your back, and it can literally a bad posture could literally impact your ankle mobility. It can impact your neck, and it can even give you headaches, which is the craziest thing, but it is a fact. Thank you, thank you, Lunar, for that information. So posture is not aside from posture is not something that is merely aesthetic, but it is necessary to have good mobility and to feel good about yourself. Because if you're walking yourself like this, if you walk yourself like this, like let's look, let me show you. Like imagine if we're like hanging out, and I literally just like, and if I'm literally just like walking like this, like imagine, dude. Like I look artwork, you know what I mean? I look mentally like slow, or like, or maybe if I would simply just like be like this, like that's weird, right? I look like a hunchback. But so one of the things is that, well, the reason that I'm bringing this up, guys, is because during from what I have gone through, like my self-esteem was up to the sky, and then I went through the past 7 years, dude, and then and then my and then my self-esteem plummeted. My self-esteem plummeted. I stopped taking care of myself. I stopped taking care of my posture. I feel like I wasn't enough. I didn't feel good about myself. I simply didn't. I felt like trash, and so I feel like now I'm in a mental space where I should worry about my posture, because I care about myself. So today was the first day where I have felt like I need to have a good posture, and I have always needed it. However, it just felt like really effortful. I simply felt tired, and today was the first day, actually, it feels hot now. Today was the first day where I simply felt like, no, I cannot be walking around with an ugly posture, no way. So so today that's what I've been doing the whole day. I've been sitting upright. I'm making sure that my back is like, I'm not even using the backrest. I'm literally just like this with my back upright like this. And I am pulling my abs in, and I'm making sure to keep my not lats, my rhomboids engaged so that my shoulders are pulled back a little bit. So additionally, I have literally felt like I have been a little bit slouched. Like whenever I pulled my chest back up, I felt like Like this is what came to my mind. Like when I was doing that, dude, when I lifted my chest to walk upright, I thought to myself, who the hell do you think you are, Efren, to walk with your puffed up chest like a chicken? Okay, like I literally thought that to myself, dude. I literally told myself, who the hell do you think you are, Efren, to walk with your chest like that? Like, isn't that crazy? And that's where I was like, oh my God, dude, what the hell happened to my self-esteem? What happened? You know, and I was like, that's I have never had that thought in my life. Never. I've always felt enough. Well, not always. Like before I had braces, when I had acne, I never felt enough. But feeling like you can conquer the world and then not, and then to feeling shy with yourself because you don't feel enough to have an upright posture, like that's freaking weird. And I literally have to talk to myself and be like, no, dude, it's like you've always been this person that walks like this. I don't care what your current state of self-perception is, but you cannot be walking like that ever again. Just freaking don't. So I am actively doing that. Like I'm actively like right now, I'm squeezing my chest, I'm squeezing my abs, and I'm actively trying to maintain. I'm trying to project a good image to you guys, a good posture. Like I'm actively trying to project to you guys a good posture. And additionally, I'm also trying to project a more steady voice that doesn't yell like "Ah," because I know that when I talk, it's almost like uncontrolled blabbering. And I have had to use restraint so that to project myself how I want to project myself to you guys. Eventually, this restraining will be second nature, and I will be just like I have always been, which is had the good posture and always squeezing all my body all of the time. But the thing is that the posture comes first and the self-esteem comes later. There are studies, and we're going to go over the studies, where people, the testosterone level of people actually rises when their posture projects power. And look, we are gonna watch a video of those. Look. So your how you present yourself, how you stand up, actually has a very huge impact on your inner on your hormonal. It has a hormonal impact. Look, and there was a study about this. Let me show you. Is this it? Hang on. No. Let's see. Let me just YouTube it. So it's study where posture impacts testosterone. Look, hang on. So look, so this is by Harvard Business School, and it talks about posture. Look, so we're gonna read this a little bit, and look. So notice, guys, that first I felt like I wasn't enough, so I felt like slouch, and it felt weird correcting my posture and sustaining it. Like the whole day, I have maintained an upright posture, and I have my abs engaged because I remember this. I remember this study. So look, so this is literally, I'm showing you guys the research, and it's literally this research was actually used in an article by Harvard Business School. And look, and it's called power posing, and it says brief nonverbal displays affects neuro neuro neuroendocrine levels and risk tolerance. Cuddy shows that simply holding one's body expansive high power poses for as little as 2 minutes stimulates higher levels of testosterone, the hormone linked to power and dominance in animal and human worlds, and other levels and lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, that can over time cause impaired immune functioning, hypertension, and memory loss. So the result, in addition to causing the desired hormonal shift, the power poses led to increased feelings of power and greater intolerance risk. So a power pose. Let's see that. Let's look at that. Let's look that up on in YouTube. Let's see power poses study. Here we go. So look, let's watch this.
Okay. I have to say, it's mostly the boots, but I'm going to talk to you today about body language. And first, let's just talk a little bit about how body language, our nonverbal behaviors, really influence the inferences that other people make about us.
Inferences.
So people mostly, from our nonverbal behaviors, are inferring things like, how strong is this person? How trustworthy is this person? How competent is this person? How much do I like this person? And these inferences are responsible for really important outcomes. And we make them quickly, sometimes in a split second. And inferences from nonverbal behaviors like, how smart do I think this person is? They predict things like election outcomes. They predict who gets hired, who gets promoted, who gets asked out on a date. So all kinds of outcomes are determined by nonverbal behaviors, and that process happens pretty quickly. But
Exactly. So notice that a posture is a nonverbal behavior that helps people infer things about you that would be a little weird to say about yourself. Like, oh my God, I have such a good I have an amazing self-esteem. Like, wouldn't that be weird to say, to be like, oh my God, my self-esteem is so high. I feel amazing. Like, I feel super confident. Like, that would be weird to just say, but you don't say those things. You say those with body language. You make people infer those things about you.
I'm going to focus today on specific nonverbal behaviors. And before I do that, I want to ask you right now to think about, what are you doing with your bodies? So how many of you have your arms crossed or your legs crossed or even your ankles crossed? How many of you are making yourselves smaller so that you don't bump into the person next to you? How many people are sprawled out and actually have their arm draped on the chair next to them or their knees spread? So I want you to pay attention to that. And I hope that in 10 minutes I'm going to convince you that if you tweak your nonverbal behaviors in really pretty easy and simple ways for a short period of time, it's going to make you feel more powerful through physiological changes in your body. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So here are some examples of power poses. So what I want you to note about these is that they are all very open and expansive. So those are the two sort of criteria that determine whether it's a power pose, whether you're open and you're expanding your body. All of these, I think, are examples of
It's taking up more space. It's like it's almost like you're dominating the space around you.
of power posing reflecting power that you already have or a victory that you feel. So people do this, I mean, this is very common after victories. They put their arms up, you know, or when you're generally feeling powerful, you're more likely to do something like this. You feel open, you feel disinhibited. So it reflects power. It's also used to communicate power. So I'm sure that you have the LBJ treatment up at the top there. So again, it's making yourself bigger, getting in other people's space, reaching out. So it's used to reflect power and to communicate power. And this is true not just for humans, but also for non-human animals. This is just one example. But you have primates who will.
She said non-human animals. She's literally calling us humans too, calling us animals too. She's saying the word human animals because she has to specify non-human animals. Just pointing that out.
Bulge their chests to make themselves bigger. The peacock fanning his tail feathers. You have even cats will idle sideways and raise their back to make themselves look bigger.
Yeah.
So this is common across both human and non-human animals. Now, on the other hand, powerlessness is reflected and communicated through these contractive closed postures. So this is a very sad powerless person, but this is an example. And I mean, it really is just everyday things that you do, like crossing your arms, also touching your face and touching your neck. This is really communicates powerlessness. Anything that you do that makes you smaller and hunching your shoulders. This is about powerlessness. It reflects it and it reinforces it. So we know already that power causes power posing. So when you possess power, whether it's short-term or long-term, or when you're communicating power, you do things like this. You power pose. You do the Wonder Woman pose. But what we wanted to know was whether you could fake it till you make it. So can you do the opposite? And I want to tell you a little bit about how we got to this. So my main collaborator, who I'm so sorry can't be here with me, but Dana Carney, and I both teach in business schools. And you may not know this, but
notice that she's coming from, she's schooled and she is in business. Notice that the whole thing about power posing is coming from business minds. I do not know exactly what her background is. Why is Amy Cuddy talking about this? But I have no idea how was she involved. But she comes from a background in business, which I find incredibly interesting.
But in the MBA classroom, about half of your grade is determined by participation. We both were concerned about the gender grade gap and wondering, what's going on? Are women participating less? And not just women, but really are non-mainstream white men participating less? So people who are not white men coming from finance backgrounds. There seems to be a gap. And we both noticed that these people who are participating less are engaging in more of these contractive, closed postures. Now, let me just say and acknowledge, of course, it's very possible that you're not calling on those people because they're doing that. But we felt like there was actually more to it, that was not the only thing happening. That if we could get them to spread out, we might actually get them to participate more. And so you might wonder why why would we predict something like this? It's a little bit counterintuitive. And I'm going to give you two little pieces of research that led to this prediction. The first is that we know already that feeling happy makes you smile. And this is a natural Duchenne smile where the muscles around the eyes are contracting. But researchers have also shown that making someone smile like this makes them happy, even when they don't feel happy. Asking them to smile like this makes them happy very quickly, and we call that facial feedback. So we know that our nonverbals both reflect and reinforce feelings. The second is a little Might seem like it's coming out of nowhere, but
Luna's gonna
so
be
when
right
you
back.
think about primate hierarchies, the alpha male tends to have high testosterone and low cortisol. And from a Darwinian perspective, the assumption is that is the individual that has the highest innate basal testosterone and the lowest innate basal cortisol. But primatologists have discovered, in the last decade or so, that if an alpha has to be taken over, if an alpha is lost and another individual has to ascend and become the alpha, this is what they find. Over just a few days, that individual's testosterone rises and his cortisol drops. Similarly, if for some reason a primate is pushed to the bottom of the hierarchy, you have the opposite. His testosterone decreases and his cortisol rises. And now, let me say a word.
That is so crazy, guys. So depending on how you feel will actually impact your hormonal balance. But this was done in primates, so I'm not sure if this applies to humans. However, I would not be surprised.
About testosterone and cortisol. Testosterone is what we call the dominance hormone. It's related to confidence, dominance, aggressiveness. Cortisol is related to stress. So obviously, lower cortisol means you're less stressed out, both in the moment and over the long term. It really can sort of erode your health over the long term. And low cortisol testosterone is clearly associated with power. We've known that for a while. Cortisol is associated with low status if your cortisol is high. So therefore, it seems to be that this endocrine profile of high testosterone and low cortisol is the best neuroendocrine profile for effective leadership. And indeed, in the last year, researchers have shown that the best leaders have relatively high testosterone and relatively low cortisol. Because what is that? That's a confident person who can go into a stressful situation that's competitive and still feel confident and not react to the stress. So you want a calm, confident leader. So we felt that it's possible that if you can change a role, like taking over the alpha position, or maybe taking the corner office, it's also possible that you could just change
Elsa, eu não sei o que você fala, eu não tenho meu transador.
people's feelings of power through these minimal changes. So let me tell you what we did in this study. So first, people come into the lab. So let's take this female participant. And we first take a saliva sample, and that's our time 1 hormone sample. It's very easy. They just spit into a little vial. They then, for 2 minutes, take on 2 high power poses. So 1 minute each. They're just asked to sit in these certain positions. They don't look at pictures because we don't.
So pay attention that she's going to talk about only standing in a position that it's a powerful pose, just standing in a powerful pose. That's all she says. Not doing anything. She just has the people stand in this pose.
Want to prime them with a concept of power. We describe to them how to sit. This is just one example of a high power pose. 2 minutes. After that,
it's literally posing. And what is a proper posture? It is a postural position. So it's you are literally posing whenever you have when your posture is practically like if it's a pose.
They fill out some questionnaires, we ask them how powerful they feel, and we also give them an opportunity to gamble. Because when people feel powerful, they're much more risk tolerant. And this is a gamble where they are endowed with $2 and they can roll a die and have a 50-50 chance of increasing that to $4. So that's our risk tolerance measure. And then we take, after about 17 minutes, which is the right amount of time between these time 1 and time 2 samples, we take another hormone sample because we want to know what their baseline levels are. Half of their participants are randomly assigned to that. Half of them are randomly assigned to this condition. And
hang on.
In this condition, they take on 2 low power poses instead. Same thing. This is what we find on risk tolerance. We find that the high power posers are significantly more likely to take the gamble. But what's more interesting to us is this. So this is their change in testosterone and cortisol. 2 minutes in a high power pose, makes your testosterone rise significantly and your
Did you guys hear that? 2 minutes in a high power pose will increase your testosterone level.
cortisol drop significantly. 2 minutes in a low power pose does the opposite. 2 minutes. And I just want to say, this is in a room alone. So they're not getting feedback. It's not like they're standing like this and people are like, wow, she's really powerful. You know, that's not what's happening. You know, they're not getting that feedback and going, oh, I must be powerful. Like, this is really reinforcing. They're sitting alone in a room. Okay, so you might ask, all right, okay, so you get these effects. So what does that mean, you know, for sitting in the classroom, going into a job interview, a venture capital pitch, going in to make a pitch to potential funders? What do? Do you go in and do you sit like this? Because, you know, I would say probably not. I also studied gender stereotypes and cultural norms, and I think it would be hazardous for me to advise anyone, especially women, to go in and do this. And you may like it or not, but there are gender stereotypes that do limit what we can do in the interactions and what inferences people draw. So I would say no. So what we wanted to show next was that just doing this before you go into a room does change your performance in a significant way. Not only does it change your hormones, but it actually makes you perform better. So in the second study, we again have the high and low power poses, 2 minutes each, and this is what happens this time. You go in, you do these power poses, and then we subject you to what's called the Trier social stress test. And this is something that's used in the lab to really increase people's cortisol, and I'll tell you what's stressful about it. You are told you have 5 minutes to write a speech. That's stressful. And the speech is about your dream job, and you are supposed to convince 2 evaluators why you are suited for this dream job, but you cannot lie or misrepresent yourself. These 2 evaluators are going to be evaluating you with clipboards in real time as you give this speech, and you're going to be filmed, and then other people will evaluate you later. Okay, so wait, so that's stressful.
That sounds hella stressful. Oh my God, imagine.
Because we know that people are terrified of public speaking. I'm actually terrified right now, but
she does not
I'm
look
not
terrified
anymore,
right now.
but I used to be. But so
my signal is like down to the floor for some reason. And it's dropping frames like there's no tomorrow. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're back.
No nodding, no movement, no shows of approval or even disapproval. Only they're locked onto you, they're watching you, they're not spacing out, and they're giving you no nonverbals. This is very stressful. Okay, so we do again 2 low power poses or high power poses before this job interview where people are basically saying you stink, you know, with their nonverbals. And again, they're not in these poses while they're in the job interview. They do them before. What we find is this. We then take these videos, have 2 coders who are hypothesis and condition blind, code them on a variety of nonverbals, all kinds of performance measures, and we just find these whopping effects. When you do this 2 minutes before and you go in, these hypothesis blind coders are like, hire her. And when you do this, they say, no way, don't hire this person. And this is driven, by the way, by changes in the extent to which these people are engaging and enthusiastic and charismatic. So that's mediating this relationship. So if you pose like that and then you go in, you're much more excited about what you're doing. And that's what's coming across. The content doesn't matter. What you're saying doesn't matter. And this actually, I'm not saying that it never does.
This is crazy.
This lines up. I'm actually saying nothing right. It's just nonsense. But you're all like laughing. It's amazing. So, but this lines up with some data that's not yet published, a dissertation by a student at Boston College who looked at 180 venture capital pitches. They were 1 or 2 minutes long. She's a nonverbals expert. She coded them on a lot of different variables. Oh. And she found that the 2 best predictors, she also looked at content of the pitches, of who got the VC money, and not many people get VC money, were enthusiasm, genuine enthusiasm, and lack of awkwardness. So if you believe in your idea and you can communicate that, that's what matters. And that seems to be what was coming across in this case. So here are the takeaways. First, in practice, prepare in advance only if it's for a few minutes. Okay, so what do people do before they go into a job interview? They're sitting down, I wish I had a chair, like this, and they're looking at their iPhone. They're making themselves as small as possible. It's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah.
Instead, go to a bathroom stall and stretch out. Like, just walk around, be moving, have your feet spread, have your arms spread, be reaching out. If you're in your own office, put your feet up on the desk. No one's watching you. Do whatever you want to do. The cultural and gender norms don't matter. If you have some space that's private, do that before you go into the interview, before you give the speech, before you give the pitch. 2 minutes. Second, during the interaction, you want to expand without dominating or without complimenting. So people tend to do one of two things. They either go in and they think they've got to own the whole room, but really what they're doing is like stealing the room. And people are like, I don't like this guy, So so you want to go into that situation. If somebody has say you go into a job interview and you already have lower power, you don't want to go in and try to be the most dominant person in the room. But the other thing that people
because
do
that's going to look awkward.
Is they compliment. When they go in to somebody who has higher status, they tend to exaggerate the difference by making themselves even smaller. So I want to say, don't do either of those things. Instead, go in and be as big as you can be comfortably. Square off your shoulders, stand with your feet apart. If you have to sit, try to rest your arms on the arms of the chair. That will prevent you from doing this.
Yeah.
If you have a prop, sorry, I keep touching this. If you have a prop like a whiteboard or something, put your hand on it or the back of a chair. Anything that forces you to stretch out. That's what you want to do when you're in the room without really coming across as super dominant. But here, there's a big picture takeaway that I think is particularly relevant, especially to a lot of what the fellows have been talking about in the last couple of days. What other minimal manipulations can empower people? This is 2 minutes in a pose, and it leads to these outcomes for both. By the way, this is not moderated by gender. This is for women and men, and for people of different races. So what other minimal manipulations can we come up with that are going to lead people to feel more powerful, to feel more confident, to feel more engaging and warm and excited about what they're doing? And I think I'm going to stop there.
So, what the hell? There we go. So, you guys saw that? Do you guys have any questions about the material? So notice that even though it is simply having a particular pose, it definitely causes even some hormonal changes in the person. So imagine how much better you're gonna feel if you literally just hang out. By the way, my legs are freaking sore from yesterday's workout. Imagine how are you gonna feel if you literally spend the rest of your days walking with your milkers pushed out, your shoulders pulled back, taking space, and this instead of being like this. You know what I mean? What's encore? I don't know what's encore. So now, aside from that, I wanna. She used the right word. Is inference. You can hear? Let me see. Hang on. I'm not. No. Hang on. I can hear it. I can hear it here, and I'm playing the live stream. I'm not. No. It's not. It's not me, dude. It's not me. I can hear it. I can hear it here, and I'm playing the live stream. Okay. So, so Phoenix, I think you might have muted or something. It's not me. I don't know. I don't know, but My microphone is working fine. A lot better, just don't look all tight or awkward. Yeah, so look, I'm overdoing it. I'm gonna tell you why I'm overdoing it. So the reason that I'm actually squeezing everything is because it's a way to burn more calories and to burn muscle when you're sitting down. Like we're gonna go over that in a little bit, but oh, cool, thank you. Cool, I'm glad you're hearing now. So one of the things that you have to understand is that your body will pretty much move how you treat it. For example, if you're a painter and you always use your right hand, chances are you're going to develop some type of shoulder injury on your right shoulder. So that's why it's so important for you to use both of them. And over time, it is incredibly possible that if you use one hand for something, like for painting, chances are my anterior deltoid and my traps are going to be taller on this shoulder than on this one. Which that's actually the case for me. I actually have one of these higher than the other one. So you want to make sure to keep yourself symmetrical. And so the importance about you have one huge hole exactly. So first thing is that symmetry is important because looking funky is not something that you wanna do because you're hanging out like this. You're like this, and then your neck is like this. And I'm telling you this because I had a client whose neck was literally like this to the side, and I helped her fix it. So so there are ways to, if you feel like you have to actually look at yourself in the mirror, and you have to actively work to to get to symmetry, like this person, like that is shifted like that. You actually have to practice centering it. But the thing is that once you have had your head like that for too long, that is gonna be it's gonna feel normal to you. And not being normal and putting it in a normal position when you are in front of the mirror so you can get some external feedback, it's gonna feel unnatural. But the right form will feel unnatural because your natural has been off. You know what I mean? So you actively have to invest effort and time into maintaining a proper form. So moving on. So about the neck, like this is proper form. You want to make sure that, let me see, do we have an example of the right form? Hang on. Oh, so I'm gonna show you some exercises here on the textbook. Look. So some exercises that you can do is to use a foam roll, you can stretch, you can use this massage thingy, and you can do some static stretches. Okay? If you guys want any further information in regards to the static stretches, consult me when we are doing a live stream. Or if you're interested in a personalized program, if you just happen to have any type of postural distortion and you wanna hire me to help you to do that, please feel free to send me an email. I'm gonna put my email here. So this is my business email, all right? So just FYI. Actually, hang on. So these are for um, there we go. And So if you guys don't know, I'm certified in corrective exercise. So if you guys happen to need help with some type of postural distortion, please don't feel free to hit me up and then we can talk about that. I know it's weird to hear that coming from a guy that talks about his pussy. That's why it's so important to maintain a freaking professional image, to maintain a professional image on the live streams. But I fucked that up. So, but I know my stuff. Like I know my stuff really well. So, these look funky. This look funky. However, you can. We have done this one. We did this one here. But movement. There's a lot of things that you can do to adjust any type of um, uh, postural distortion or asymmetrical positioning of your cervical spine. Additionally, there are some that we can do with a stability ball. So one thing that I have to tell you guys about maintaining a proper form is that the muscle that you are engaging when you're holding a proper form is gonna get tired. You're gonna get tired, and but you have to make sure to want it bad enough. The reason that I showed you guys the benefits of holding a proper form is because that in itself should be enough motivation for you to want to have one. Notice that our presenter, by the way, guys, I'm a published author. It's like my book is like right here, guys. Like I'm a published author. If you guys didn't know that. So, uh, so notice that the lady said, Anna was her name, I believe, that but the proper form will increase the possibility of you, Amy, of you getting hired at a job. Notice that she said that people were giving pitches for businesses, for entrepreneurs, and the ones that held the power poses actively were chosen over the ones that didn't. Oh, send me an email and then we can talk about it. So we can talk about what it is that you what type of result that you're looking for, and then we can discuss it in the email notorious. So, but yeah, please send me an email. So, guys, a, a proper posture will literally give you an edge over people that do not know this because you will not only appear more confident, people will not only infer that you're confident, but you will feel and be more confident, which is exactly why it's so important to have a proper posture. And notice that different you can make different inferences from people only by standing a little weird. Do you know what I mean? Like when someone simply just has like this weird posture, you're gonna infer things about a person that are probably untrue. Like this just looks weird. You know what I mean? Like that just looks weird. Like you would assume that that person is geeky, and when this person is like straight, that person looks normal. Like you can literally infer a lot of things simply by looking at a person. So, and so now that we covered the part of our cervical spine, we're gonna move on to the lumbopelvic hip complex. Yeah, no, it's true. And the lumbopelvic hip complex is it's pretty much your hip section. And let's talk about it. So look, most of the people that have problems with the lumbopelvic hip complex is women. Why? Because they, hang on. Actually, this is not bad. movement assessments. No, we're already past it. Here we go. So look, this is when you know how women typically stand up to show a bigger butt. This is typical of women to do so. So they stretch, they their back is overly tight, and their abs are pushed forward. So hang on. Okay, so here a proper posture. Look, so the ear should be right above the middle of the shoulder, and then the middle of the shoulder should be right on in front of the bone here. The pelvic bone, this bone right here. So your shoulder should be right above it, and then your right underneath your that bone, they should be right above your malleolus. Your malleolus is this bone right here. This little bone on your this little bone right here. Let me show you. Ah, guys, my legs are sore, dude. So this bone right here, this is the malleolus, el hueso de aquí. So you want to make sure. I can't believe I remember the name of that bone. I've been trying to remember it for forever, and it just dawned on me. That's crazy. So proper form should be like a straight line. It should literally just be like a straight line. And here, this person they just have like they have rounded shoulders, called also upper cross syndrome. And now let's move on to the lumbo pelvic hip complex. Let's see. Hang on. I know I said that, but let me just type it in. Here we go. So I'm going to give you an example of the lumbo-pelvic hip complex. No, this is, here we go. Okay. So look, how you walk, how you move, or let's see, your lumbo-pelvic hip complex will have an impact on how long your knees last, on your ankles, on pretty much everything that has to do with your spine, with your lower body. And any type of dysfunction of the lumbo-pelvic hip complex can really cause you problems. Like if you're in sports, especially if you are involved in sports where you require agility, you're gonna find that well, a good coach will actually teach the members of the team or the athletes to keep to whenever they squat. Actually, I can't show you here. To whenever they squat, to not move your knees, to not move their knees, and when they squat. So to not. No, you can't see that. Well, actually, let me just show you here. Let's see. Show me. It didn't show me, so I have to go lower. No. Here we go. Hey, Michael Taylor. I hope you're doing good. Well, a lumbo-pelvic hip complex that is not right. Right now, we're just gonna cover this. Look, so you don't want to be walking like this, like you're pumping your butt. Like, don't do that. So when you do that, you're gonna be stretching your abs, and you're simply gonna be pushing out your stomach if you're like that. So what you want to do is that you want to again make sure that your hip bone is literally underneath the middle of your shoulder. Okay? I hope you're doing good. And I think that's it. That's it for the lumbopubic hip complex. But for our purposes. And on top of that, you want to make sure that when you walk, your feet are pointing to the front. Like one thing that people do, especially us Americans, is that we hang and then we just stand with our feet like that. We stand with our feet like that. Like don't do that, dude. Like that looks lazy. Just like do this. So your second and third toes should be right above your knees, and then your knees should be right in the middle of your hip bone, right here. So don't keep your knees like that. You want to keep them like that. And well, thank you. Oh, yes, I'm well. I'm doing well. Right now we're talking posture. So, do you guys have any questions? Do you guys have any questions? Any questions about posture? So, please notice, guys, that like your posture is gonna say things that you wanna say about yourself, but you shouldn't speak out about them. Like, oh yeah, it's like I am confident. I feel freaking good. It's like you can't really. God, this lighting makes me look so freaking ugly. That looks freaking awful. Okay, whatever. I give up. So, I'm taking a haircut too. Ugh. So, please understand that your posture is your business card before your business card. It is what is gonna help people know who you are and know aspects about you that you wouldn't say. Like imagine the statues of Greek gods with that postures. Look, let's check that out a little bit. Let's let's look at that first. I think that's gonna be an interesting little experiment. Um, we're just gonna look at images actually. So look, I don't know. I haven't looked for this before. I haven't looked for this. Okay, this is the first time that I'm looking for this. So I wish we could have like a 3D model that we could like move around. You know what I mean? Interactive 3D models of Greek gods. I don't think you can. Well, look, we're just gonna see them like this through here. And look, and these were in artists. These are the depictions of artists' interpretation of what a god is. So, look, the reason that I just want to see the freaking image. Come on, show me the image. God damn it! Oh, I don't want to download the model, but I looked for models for. Oh, okay, okay, no. I thought it was gonna be like a little flash website. So let's see. Um, So, first of all, notice even goddesses, dude. Like, notice how even goddesses will have this, like, why is it not downloading? Oh, I hate it when servers are like slow AF, dude. It pisses me off. Why are you so slow? I'm just gonna look at museum web pages. Um, okay, look. So we're gonna be looking at this video of famous Greek goddesses, and pay attention to the posture.
The Venus de Milo is a famous ancient Greek statue of the goddess Aphrodite, also known as Venus in Roman mythology. The statue was discovered in 1820 on the Aegean island of Milos by a French farmer.
So here, notice how even on the statue, look at the ear, and notice that it's literally like right above the middle of the shoulder, and then here you can barely see it, but the middle of the shoulder is right above the hip bone. So this is the good thing about statues is that or actual Greek works of art is that they really represent like they like if it's a god it's meant to represent power. But notice that any depiction of any of power that is expressed in the shape of a human has a perfect posture. You are never gonna see one of the most like you're never gonna see a deity with a bad posture. So having a good posture is something of the gods. It sounds crazy, but it's true. Like haven't you noticed that um Skigel, what's the name of the my precious guy from Lord of the Rings? Like notice that his posture is the opposite of perfect. No. Monster, my precious. Gollum. What would you call him? Skillum. Well, Gollum. So like, look at his posture. Is literally the opposite of a good form. Look at it. It's literally everything that you shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? So in film and in artistic expression, a good form will always encompass power, self-confidence, and goodness all of the time. You are never gonna find someone that is powerful unless they didn't have the innate qualities of power. Like if someone just comes into money without for whatever reason and they don't have the innate qualities of power, they're gonna probably like that's weird. But for the most part, Smeagol, yes, Smeagol. So, but notice that his posture is the opposite of the posture of the Greek gods. You know what I mean? So a better posture. What is Smeagol? Like, who is Smeagol? Because that what would he is his name Smeagol? That's his name though, right? Oh, Gollum, yeah, okay, yeah, is the original okay, Smeagol, okay. I never finished reading those books. Oh my God, I feel bad now. My heart is actually hurting. Okay, so look, notice. Also, don't you notice that the gods are muscular and any depiction of something that is not good or evil is skinny, like this represents deformation, perversion of what's good, because in the end he was in the story, his own, he was overcome by a dark power, and so right now he represents power. So Gollum is literally a representation of the opposite of power. Notice that he's the sneakiest and the weakest, but he has power, but it is out of, he's making himself small the entire time. That's what he does. He makes himself small. He hides in the shadows. And Greek gods, they are literally the opposite. So whenever you actively take care of your posture, because you want to present yourself as something, like, notice how everything is congruent when it comes to posture. The
Who sold it to the French
art
government.
says it.
It
Art says it. Art says it. Be it modern or mythical art or old art, it has always been the same. Yes, Michael. But yeah, they are the one and the same. But notice that a good posture infers power, self-control, discipline, which is exactly why anything that conveys discipline and power, it comes with a proper posture, especially when that power and discipline is expressed in the form of a human. So that's the thing about posture, is that if notice that just the right posture, just holding it, literally changes how your body works internally. So there is some type of power in your posture that we don't understand, but even your cells, dude, your brain and your cells know it. Your body knows it. So if you want to literally have other people know things about you, whether or not you believe them or not, whether or not you believe them, but if you want to make sure that people know that you are confident, you hold a confident posture. Why? Because it's gonna bring you a little bit closer to a god, to a mythical figure. That's why when someone has a good posture, you always notice it. You cannot really put your finger on it. Same thing with having a muscular body. Notice that all of the gods have abs, like, for real. You know what I mean? And the more powerful, the bigger the abs.
is currently on display at the Louvre Museum in Paris.
Look,
The
all of them,
story behind the Venus de Milo is that it was created by the famous Greek sculptor
all of
Praxiteles
them.
around 100 BCE. Praxiteles was known for his lifelike sculptures of goddesses and nymphs, and the Venus de Milo is considered one of his greatest works. The
Ah,
statue was originally commissioned by the city of Cnidus in Asia Minor, where it was displayed in a temple. However,
look,
it was said that the statue was stolen by pirates, and eventually
look at
ended
how
up on
beautiful
the
that
island
is.
of Milos, where it was discovered by the
That tells me that I have to do abs, because look at that.
French farmer.
Look at that.
The statue was missing its arms, but it is believed that they were
So
broken off during its time.
what you want to be as close to the form of a god as possible. You want to be a god in earth. So look, and I'm not saying this with any type, and this that it just, for some reason, saying becoming something closer to a god, it's crazy, but in the end, people are gonna treat you how they see you. So you want to make sure to increase your possibility of success, of happiness, because just like us men are attracted to women, and we can subconsciously see that these, like when a woman is fertile, people can subconsciously see the level of your of it's almost like they can feel your testosterone level, just like how you can tell when, like, if you pay attention to someone's body, to someone's um, um, I guess, body language. You can infer a lot of things from people, just like how you can infer a lot of things by how they dress, by how they move, by how they stand. Also, you can infer things. You infer some things that are invisible to the eye. That is a sixth sense that we are given to deduce things just by looking at other people. So just like that, it's like you don't have any evidence that someone is standing upright. I mean that someone has a high self-esteem. You don't have any evidence. You don't. But but looking at a person that stands upright with a good posture, who resembles a Greek god statue, increases your chances of being perceived as someone who has a high sense of value. So in the end, it makes like the congruency doesn't come only, it comes from your actions. Your actions, how you move your body, how you behave, the things, how you, everything about yourself, about your persona, says something to the world. So the thing is that these things are things that you really shouldn't say unless you want to, but because your actions speak louder than words, so people are going to believe you more that you are confident if you hold a confident posture, whereas someone who isn't truly confident and feels the need to tell people they're confident, that is kind of sus, so you want to be able to have presence, and you want to make sure that the presence that you tell people, that you give out, that you show to the world, is the presence that will increase your possibility of being a successful human being. Does this make sense? Like, I know what we're talking about today is completely off the charts, different from before, but this is something that you guys have to understand, is that, and ladies, is that how you move and how you stand can make a fundamental change in the route that your life takes. And you have to be obsessed. Like, you have to be obsessed with the way that you present yourself to the world. Because when you don't, that shows carelessness. And I'm telling you this because I have been in both boats where I cared a lot and where I didn't give a flying F. And guess what? Guess where I was happier. I was happier when my actions told the world, my actions and the way that I carried myself told to the world that my self-esteem was up to the sky. I was a lot happier back then because not only people perceive me that way, but I perceive myself that way, and that is 10 times more important. So please understand that the way you carry yourself is crucial if you want to make sure that you get the job. If you want to make sure that people, you want to make sure that people know that you're going to stand your ground. So that's why you have to have a a mannerisms that are, in my opinion, a little standoffish, like don't fuck with me. Okay, so we're gonna keep watching this so we can see a little bit more example.
As a lute. The Venus de Milo quickly became a sensation in France and around the world, and it remains one of the most famous works of ancient Greek art today. Despite the fact that it's missing its arms, it is still considered a masterpiece of ancient Greek art, and continues to be admired for its beauty and elegance.
So
After the statue was discovered,
you want to be as close to looking like a Greek statue as possible, and look, and don't tell me that that's impossible, that's a lot of work. Like, no, it's possible, and it does take work, but it's gonna pay out tenfold in regards to the direction of your life.
it was brought to Paris and presented to King Louis XVIII, who placed it in the Louvre Museum. The Venus de
On top of that, you are also gonna feel better about yourself and your possibility of having children is gonna increase. A lot of good things come from a good posture and from taking care of yourself, dude.
Milo quickly became one of the most popular attractions at the Louvre, drawing thousands of visitors each year. Despite its fame and popularity, the Venus de Milo has also been the subject of much debate and controversy. 4. The statue was originally commissioned by the city of Cnidus in Asia.
So not Zeus, but let's look at the most powerful Greek gods. Let's look at that. And let's see. So notice that in all the Greek mythology, every single statue has a proper posture. Hey, the bygowns, I hope you're doing good. Like their postures are amazing, and that's the thing, is that they are gods. Now let's look at the most powerful gods. It's like random. Let's see. No, let's keep looking at. I think Greek gods are a good example, like Zeus, museum statue. I'm clicking on that one because he has a gut in that image. And I have never seen an image of Zeus with a freaking gut. Look at that. That's so beautiful. But that's how we should all look, though. Oh, that's what happened. Where's the tattoo? Where's the statue? Here we go. So, well, he has like but he has abs, dude. But notice that like his quadratus lumborum is like he has milkers. You know what I mean? Like this is Zeus, dude. Like one of the most powerful gods. But look at all of the statues. Like the gods are like all muscular. I'm surprised that they didn't draw like a huge piece, like a huge chunk. You know what I mean? Like a huge package. But please understand this: is that this does isn't so gods are not depicted muscular for no reason. Gods are depicted muscular because muscles infer power. So that's one of the things that you guys have to take in, and this is why it's so important to to keep your body in the best shape as possible, because you want to get like image is super important, and in my personal experience, when I stopped caring about it, my life went downhill. Coincidence? No, I don't think so. So you want to make sure to always to protect, not only protect, but sculpt your image. Every repetition, every second that you spend holding a good form, every second that you spend engaging your abs, every second that you spend, retracting your neck and putting your neck in the right position so that you're not like this. All of that is like you're chiseling your body slowly. And over time, this chiseling will become permanent. I mean, of course, unless something crazy dramatic happens. But that's highly unlikely. For the most part, though, you want every single day, you want to make sure that every day you are building a future version of yourself in the future. And you want to make sure to envision yourself as a Greek god or goddess so that you personify that. You want to have something to achieve. You know what I mean? So, and posture is one of the most important aspects of that. Why? Because it doesn't only change you, it doesn't only project the image, but it literally changes how you feel about yourself. It literally changes. Just like how earlier today, like I mentioned earlier in the live stream, where I wasn't feeling, where it felt weird for me to stay upright because I didn't feel like, for some reason, I just didn't feel like I was enough, which is crazy as hell. But then I remembered the power posing video, fake it till you make it, where even if you don't feel like that's the truth, that it's gonna later come in, that you're gonna have the change, the internal change, and then you're gonna and that internal change is actually gonna transform how people perceive you. But you have to have the internal change. But for that internal change, you have to do something about it, and that something is having the proper form, squeezing your abs, and you have to have a vision in mind. So, guys, please understand that posture is incredibly important in self-development. And look, it literally is going to impact every second of your entire existence. It will. So take it seriously. And just know that it's in the beginning, if you're sitting upright, you're going to get tired and it's going to burn. However, over time, those muscles that you are engaging to keep the proper posture is are gonna get stronger, and you're gonna ingrain holding a proper posture into your nervous system, which will then become second nature. Does that make sense? Do you guys have any questions or anything to say? Any input? I'm not even sure how many people are here in the chat, dude. Like, I have no idea. So, so please understand, guys, that I'm gonna hang out for like a couple of minutes, like 10 minutes. Let's see. Hey, young girl, how are you? Hey, good. Thank you for being here. I remember you were here talking about that you were checking out the videos. So look, and this whole thing about having a proper form isn't only like isn't only about me. I mean, of course it isn't. It's about look. The reason that I'm talking about this is because of my I literally had a catharsis earlier today about this same thing, and the reason that I felt invincible in the past was because of I all of this stuff. It's stuff that I have explored over many years, and this little bits of knowledge, about how looking like a Greek god and taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, and wanting to be a personification of a Greek statue that represents a god. That is something that should empower you, because imagine that you looked at yourself and that you looked at at a statue of a Greek god. How are you gonna feel? You're gonna feel freaking amazing, right? Like, you're gonna feel, oh my god, do I look like a Greek god or a goddess? Like, that's fucking hot. Like, imagine. Ah. So yeah, guys, that was what I wanted to talk today. I'm gonna convert this video in this this live stream into a video, and I'm gonna put it later in as a standalone video. And I'm sore out everywhere. I'm sore everywhere. I wanted to stream, however, I wasn't really feeling like working out today. I just simply wasn't feeling it. So let's see. I want to like watch something. Well, I think that's it for this stream, guys. I'm gonna like clean up and then eat something and go to sleep. I want to sleep early. Okay. So, guys, Phoenix, thank you so much for being here. Youngwood, thank you so much for being here. The Big Bounce, thank you so much for being here. Michael Taylor, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you guys have an amazing evening and please take care of yourself, take care of your body, take care of your mind, and immediately kick out toxic people from your life. All right? I love you.